that's our cue. Gonna share our thoughts with you. Laugh and gossip, spit in tea. Little secrets between you and me. Countdown ticking, let's get real. Heart to heart, it's how we feel. Girl talks in 8 minutes time. Ring that bell, let's feel the rhyme. Share our dreams and tell our fears. Girl talks, wiping all those tears. Snap a pic of what we wear. Brush our hair, let down our care. Conversations never lie in this moment with you and I. Clock is ticking, here we go. Words like rivers start to flow. Tune your ears and hear the beat. Girl talks makes our time so sweet. Girl talks in 8 minutes time. Ring that bell, let's feel the rhyme. Share our dreams and tell our fears. Girl talks, wiping all our tears. Clock is ticking, here we go. Words like rivers start to flow. Tune your ears and hear the beat. Girl talks makes our time so sweet. Girl talks in 8 minutes time. Ring that bell, let's feel the rhyme. Share our dreams and tell our fears. Girl talks, wiping all our tears.
Morning, y'all. It's 5 minutes and 30 seconds before Girl Talk starts, so you have just enough time to grab yourself a cup of coffee and get in a comfy seat. We'll see you soon.
Catch Girl Talks every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GURLTAUX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube streams. Scrolling through your daily memes. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. Keeping it real, it's what we do. So tune in now and join our crew. Lights moving through the screen. Click subscribe, don't be mean. Upbeat chatter, it's our routine. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun and see what Girl Talks is all about. GURLTAUX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Girl Talks can be seen. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. Update stories, laugh and cry. It's Girl Talk, so don't question why. It's the show that you'll adore. Come back daily to get some more. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. GURLTAUX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Girl Talks can be seen. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. GURLTAUX, log in now, watch our show. Likes and comments, let them flow. Every day we're on our way. Girl Talk Show is here to stay. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
Walking down this road tonight, talking about the things we fight. Addiction knocking at my door. E&T wants so much more. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, together we'll move along. Searching for a brighter day, holding tight along the way. Sobriety's a steep climb, D&T winning every time. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Whoa, yeah. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Whoa, yeah. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good
Good morning.
morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I'm happy this is day 2 in a row. It's only taken like 80 episodes to like be on time.
Hey, we're getting there.
Yeah. Hey, this is why they say just start. You can fix it as you go. You'll get better as you go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
'Cause
Mhm.
definitely, excuse me, definitely getting better as we go. That's
For
for
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
And being on time is a huge part of it because, when you say you're gonna be somewhere at a certain time, it is nice if you're actually there. Whoop, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to do that. I meant to remove it completely. Um, but anyway, so how are you this morning?
I'm good. I slept in a lot harder than I should have this morning, but I'm
Oh,
here.
yeah?
So, yeah.
Was that, because you were up late or
I I wasn't up late, but I did wake up
or
in the middle of the night. And
a restless
yeah.
sleep? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's been one of those days, but we'll figure it out.
Was it puppy related or just shoulder related?
Shoulder related.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to sleep when you have, especially for whatever reason, like shoulder pain seems to
Yeah.
be really difficult to sleep because I don't know about you, but I can't stay on one
Yeah.
side the entire time. So,
Right.
like, when I go to turn over, 'cause I have a shoulder issue from many years. I had surgery 20 years ago,
Mhm.
or more. But it hurts, and when I go to turn over, it's very uncomfortable.
Right.
It doesn't feel good, and you're
Yep.
like, "Ow, I forgot it hurts for a second."
Yep.
That's one of the worst things is when you forget you have an injury and you
Yeah.
go
And
to
then you
do
poke it.
something and you're like, "Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you're still there.
whoops.
You hurt."
Yeah.
Um,
Hi.
that's
Oh,
not fun.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so anyway, apparently I have a frog in my throat.
Yeah.
So, yesterday we had, I mean, it was still about our topic. We kept it kinda on topic, but we never got to our actual, like, what we had planned for, yesterday. So,
Yep.
I have the notes here that we made, and, when you're talking about self-care and you're talking about the different things that you can do to help yourself with self-care, I think a lot of them, even though we made a nice list of the different things, they all coincide together. Like,
Yes.
they all work very well together, and you need to keep in mind that you kinda can't have one without the other. It kinda they kinda start overlapping. What you're doing here, correlates to what you're doing here.
Right.
But you can keep in mind, the w one might just be more prevalent in spiritual, like the nature walking,
Yeah.
stuff like that, but it correlates with all different it's physical, it's mental, it's spiritual. So, a lot of these things that we talk about throughout this month are overlapping stuff. It's not like a one size fits all. And um pick out of those things what works best for you, I guess is a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
But I think it's also good to make yourself like when we talk about the different things you can do, it doesn't mean you have to go through that list and check mark them and okay, I did this, I did this, I did, because that's going to add to your mental anxiety or stress or whatever.
Sure.
But look at the list of things that we bring up and look at the list of things. I mean, and we Googled a lot of this information
Mhm.
because there is a lot of information out there. So you can look things up and take it from like our show and you can put together what the things that work best for you. Like I love the nature thing, but when we talk about, take your shoes off and walk in the grass or sit in the grass, well, I can't do that because I got too many dang ants, which we're trying to eradicate, but we still have them. So I'm not
Mhm.
gonna go out there because that would not bring me peace. I would end up leaving there all bit up. So take into account, if you live in the city or you live in an apartment complex, you may not have um, your own grass. And I definitely don't suggest necessarily walking barefooted through public places like that so much because you don't know what's in the grass. So keep in mind that we're not giving you like a checklist, must do this, must do that. It's things that might work.
These are suggestions. Use them or make them work for you the best that you are able.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I just thought it was a good disclaimer to put out there that we're not saying you have to make yourself one, connect with other people. It's
You
just
can't stray from this list. It's the only way to do it. Duh.
yeah, we have made you a list and now you must follow it. so
Stop it.
So there are a number of things that you can do that you can go pull information two of your own, because there's so much information out there if you seek it out. And sometimes just watching a show like this might make you think, ooh, that's a great idea. Maybe I should do something like that. Like, I loved that we were talking about connecting with your family, and sitting around watching a movie. But if you come up with a task to do, it does occupy that wanting to play a game. It does occupy that distraction aspect because you're looking for things.
Right.
If you give each person an assignment of a color,
Right.
you look for everything red and have
Yeah.
a notebook. That's fine. Write it down. And
Well, it's not so much the looking for everything red, but noticing like, hey, when there is red, it will it will
it
oh my
symbolizes,
God.
yeah.
There's the word. Symbolizes that something dangerous is coming, or something. It
Right.
symbolizes something. So
Right.
what do you see going on in the scene? Or like, hey, do you notice, especially with like those noir films, like what do
Mhm.
you notice with the lighting? What do you know? And I have found, having gone through like the film classes in college, once you learn those tricks, you're like, oh shit, that just ruined the movie for me, because now I know that lighting just said this to me. So now I know that this is the bad guy. The
Yeah.
lighting
Yeah.
just shined on this guy in this way. But these are the feelings I am meant to be feeling because of the way this lighting is. So, when you point out, like, everybody pay attention to the lighting in this film, how is it making you feel? That those are good ways of like paying attention and starting the conversation for
Right.
those
Right.
as a starter. So, yeah.
Well, even something that my husband and I do, like, we like to watch a lot of crime shows,
Mhm.
like NCIS and Criminal Minds, and when it starts, shortly after it starts, we usually pause it and we both give like what we think is going to happen all the way through to the end. We give our little, I think this is what's gonna happen, I think this is who the bad guy is, and it's not right at the beginning because there's not always, a it's once we think the person or there's enough people introduced, we pause, or we might just talk over it, but we're like, "I think he's the one that did it, and I think this is how he did it, and this is where," and we see how close to, um how close we are to the what ends up happening. And, to be
Right.
honest with you, I love it when
It's
we're
like playing
wrong.
Clue.
Yeah, I love it when we're wrong because it makes it they put a little more effort in for it not to be so predictable. 'Cause
Right.
I do go like, "This is so predictable." Like,
Right.
it doesn't
Hey,
mean they're
yeah.
not still fun to watch, like, the
Right.
Christmas Hallmark movies are not they're still fun to watch, but, like,
Right.
they're always gonna get the guy.
Right.
This is always gonna happen, I mean, like, it would be a very depressing, Christmas movie, I guess, if he's like, "Bitch, get bent. Go
Yeah.
away." Um, so there is that, but the point is, I'm just trying to say, we're giving you a list of things, of ideas that,
Mhm.
pick things out of those if you so choose to, and use them if you want to. And
Mhm.
you don't have to do everything that we're bringing out because we're doing a whole month of things, and that's a
Yeah.
lot of content that you're
Mhm.
absorbing. So look at things and say, "Oh, I really like what they said here," or "I really wanna try doing that." Um,
Yeah.
and like some people don't they don't do journaling the same way as everyone else. And
Mhm.
you can pick a way to do journaling that like I have one journal that all I do is write a bullet point for the day.
Yeah.
And if I go back and I look at it that one sentence reminds me of everything that kinda happened that day or whatever. Um
Mhm.
And journal for different things, like, I have a whole journal set for our ambulance. So everything we do related to the ambulance is going in. I do have to update that journal to the ambulance getting stuck in the mud for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then what we bought and how it worked, because what we bought was for a truck or a Jeep, and it worked for a big old huge ambulance, and it worked. Like, it worked like a champ. So, you know, journal you might journal for different things. I know there's people that garden journal. They journal about their garden, and in there it has what they planted, what time they planted it, and how its growth process is going. So there's all sorts of things that you can do that have a correlation to some of the stuff we're talking about. So I think where we left off, I'm trying to make sure I'm not like just redoing everything here that we talked about last week, or no, on Monday. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. Um, okay. So I'm guessing this is where I'm at. I thought I left it where I was at, but then it put itself all the way back to the beginning. And I'm like, no, that's not where I was meant to be. So connect with other people. Good relationships are important for your mental well-being. They can help you build a sense of belonging and self-worth, give you an opportunity to share positive experiences, provide emotional support, and allow you to support others. There are lots of things you can try and help stronger relationships. And this is a do. If possible, take time each day to be with your family. Okay, so we did talk about this. Eating dinner together. So when Emma and Lily were here from Denmark and Germany, when we would go out to dinner, we still had the dinner table rule of no phones at the table. However, when you go out to a public restaurant, it's a different thing. You're at a public restaurant. And even the girls notice, they're like, man, like you walk in and everybody is on their phones. They're sitting together, yet they're on their phones. So Emma brings a deck of cards in her purse. And it's something she does with her own family in Denmark. When they go out to eat and stuff, when they're sitting around the table, they don't have their phones out. They play card games. And so she brought that with her. And every time we would get to a restaurant or something, out would come the deck of cards, and we would play a card game while we were waiting for the server. I think this is a really good thing to do. And you can pick all different games. Like we did use the phone one time because we forgot the cards. So we played whatever that game is when you have to guess and you have to flip it. We played that on the phone. We also played that at Disneyland in line, and people were just cracking up laughing at us because we were not just standing there. So there's two things with that. Is it keeps you from being disconnected from the people you're with, and it connects you because you're playing a game together, but it also distracts you from the time that you're waiting for something.
Right.
If that restaurant happens to be really busy that day, you're going to notice that it took 45 minutes for your food to be delivered if you're just all sitting there waiting. It starts becoming like really, I cannot figure out the lighting here. For whatever reason, my lighting always looks really good in this room, and today it looks really dark. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Probably I need to hit the backlight button. There you go. That's
Ta-da!
ta-da! But when we started doing that, it's something that now, like, I will take games with us, even if it's just me and Steve, or if it's me and Steve and my mom, or if it's us and friends, take a game and play a game because one, you're not sitting there going, "Oh my god, it's been 15 minutes since she's been over
Right.
here. We sat
Right.
down like 30 minutes ago." I
Right.
if you start doing something else, so that can take away some of that anxiety or stress if you get irritated easily in a time manner, because
Right.
a lot of people will get irritated that their server hasn't come yet. But if you just start playing a game kinda right away, like, you don't even realize it's been 15 minutes or 45 minutes because time also can get away from you. So, that's an idea of something that you can do at least out with your friends and family. It's still disconnecting, but it's helping you connect with the people you're with. I think that's the important part is connecting with the people you're with, and not so much worrying about the people out there in social media
Mhm.
land or whatever,
Mhm.
and not comparing yourself to them. That's also
Right.
another part of it. What do you guys do, like, if you go out to eat or do you do anything like that?
We don't do anything like that. No, we just usually talk. We still have a young one, so we'll get that mat and we might play games with her on that, the typical like tic-tac-toe or whatever and things like that. But usually it's just conversations. The phones don't come out. But it's, conversations and trying to keep up, touch base and see how everybody's doing, stuff like that. But coloring's a good one,
Well,
but
yeah,
she's
yeah, yeah,
almost 13, so we're gonna have to step up our game here to entertain her, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, you could get yourself a deck of Uno cards
Yeah.
and
We
play
actually
Uno.
have so every year we go to the, Lantern Festival here in Huntsville, it's a nationwide thing, um but when you buy so we have probably 15 decks, um, but they have conversation starter decks, and it looks like a deck of cards, but each card is a question, and
Oh,
you have
that's
and it
cool.
yeah,
What
that might be
festival
some
is that?
Lantern Festival?
I've never heard of it. Will you explain?
Oh my gosh, it's super emotional. So it's the Chinese Lantern Festival.
Okay.
Um, so they give you a paper lantern with a candle, but the candle is battery operated. But the goal is to color the lantern with things you want to let go of, goals for the next year, that kind of thing. Um, and during that time, there's like a market that will go on, that you can walk up and down. And there's meditation that will happen before you release it. And then if people are brave enough, and it's hard and it makes me bawl every single time, people will stand up and they will talk about what they're letting go of or what their experiences are and what they're dealing with. And they'll talk about depression. They'll talk about losing someone to suicide. They'll talk about overcoming addiction. They'll talk about all sorts of things that just get to be a lot. And then once all of that is done, we do the meditation and then put the water lanterns into the water and it's super pretty and then it's over.
Oh, that's
So
really cool.
yeah, my nose is just somebody's thinking about me.
Sorry, I wasn't distracted. I was trying to
No, you're
turn my
fine.
heater on.
Yeah,
Um,
you're fine.
that's really cool. It's kinda like those ones you see where you go and you buy the lanterns and you do whatever you're gonna do and you release them up into the sky.
Right.
I like that in the water kinda better.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of, my own personal, um like, I don't necessarily I'm not an environmentalist, but I care about our environment, like,
Right.
I'm not an environmentalist, like, I'm not gonna get out there and tell everybody that they all have to have a electric vehicle, because I know the reality behind an electric vehicle, there's a lot more to it. I have a hybrid, but there is not just electric, I mean, it's like the people that say, "I don't know why we gotta worry about the farmers, just go to the grocery
Right.
store and get your meat," like, know where things come from and what it takes to make them, because
Mhm.
environmental electric vehicles does not remove anything from the environment. it 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 still takes from the environment to make them, and
Right.
they haven't found a good way to dispose of them once they have to dispose of them. So there's other things to that. So I do have a bit of a dislike when people release a bunch of stuff into the atmosphere, because
Mhm.
at some point I I,
Whatever
I
it
mean,
is needs to stop.
like hot air balloons.
Yeah.
um, you have those people that do a 1,000 balloon release because of something. Well, they all have to go up somewhere.
Right.
And, I don't necessarily think they last long enough for them to burn up in the atmosphere. I think they just
Mm.
pop and then they just litter our
Yep.
grounds, and, it adds to, like, I carry a little tube with a metal straw, has a cleaner in it, on every
Yeah.
purse. I have one on every single one of my purses because I do care about the turtles. I thought it was ridiculous when they make a straw, no plastic straws law in California, but yet you can still buy soda with the little plastic things wrapped around them. That's what they
Yeah.
find on turtles more than a straw. So,
Right.
like, the straws affect them, but I think about the environment in the ways I can protect it. Like, my son
Oh,
absolutely hates that I use the K-Cups. He's like, "Mom, those
okay.
are so bad for the environment because they don't, um, break down. They take,
Sure.
like, forever, I guess, for the plastic part on the outside to break down." So my way of helping with that is I use those. I clean out all the coffee out of it, and I put that in my composting, and then I reuse those because they already have holes in them, and I reuse those as my bud cups for
Mhm.
growing, plants.
Mhm.
So and you can reuse them. They have a little mesh inside there, which is really good for your plants, and once they've grown, I cut that little part out, and I put them in the ground,
Yep.
and then I use those little cups for, if I need to pull something out, I can reseed it, and I use its own dirt, so there's ways of using things so that, so I really like that idea of in the water, because
Yeah.
at some point somewhere they can be collected up.
Yeah, and they are the next morning,
Yeah, yeah.
so they're picked
So
up right
you
away.
can't really pick them up from the sky,
Yeah,
'cause you don't know where
exactly, and
they
they
went.
get stuck. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they cause issues with our birds, and, so
Mhm.
really like that idea of the water so much better. And I know
Yeah.
we talked about this one yesterday, but I'm gonna, talk about it again because we didn't really talk about it too much, but we talked about it a little bit, not yesterday, the day before. Learning new skills. Research shows that learning new skills can also improve your mental well-being by boosting self confidence and raising self esteem, helping you to build a sense of purpose and helping you to connect with others. Even if you feel like you don't have enough time or may not need to learn a new thing, we always, I shouldn't say we always, some people think they don't need to learn something new, or that there are people out there that think they know how to do a lot of things until they start doing it and they're like, oh, I really didn't know how to do this. And YouTube
Mhm.
today, that's one of the benefits of YouTube, I have to say, is anything you don't know how to do, you can find on YouTube. You can
Right.
figure it out on YouTube. So you don't always have to go buy something, you can make it or figure it out. Um,
Mhm.
but trying to learn something new, is really great for your mental health. So I owned a wedding event business for many years. We made some of the things for the weddings and stuff like that. It got shut down kind of during COVID, but um there were certain things that we now do that in my shop that I never did before. But
Mhm.
it's because I tried something new. Like for instance, my husband and I used to go every year. We went to Christmas in the Vineyards in Northern California, and it was a really fun time. His aunt lived out there. His mom and his dad would go. Like there was a whole group of us that would go. And we went one year and there was a gal inside there, a little vendor that was selling handmade wine glasses. And so I went home afterwards and I painted wine glasses for everybody that had gone. And I just used acrylic. I didn't know anything about it. I've never done it
Mhm.
before. I just used acrylic paint and then I had to put like a seal coat over the top of it. I still have mine and I tell my husband, those are not usable. Like you
Mhm.
leave them alone because if they get wet, it is going to ruin them. Um,
Right.
and everybody has theirs still. Nobody I warned everybody gotta be careful cleaning them or whatever. So they're pretty much just a collector thing for everyone.
Right.
And then the next year when we went, I saw the same gal and, I had pre-painted us the whole group our own glasses. And she said, "Wow, those are really cute. Where did you get those?" I said, "Well, I painted them." And she took me aside and showed me what paint to use and
Okay.
how to
Yeah.
use it properly. So now when I make them the 3rd year, um, all of them are painted with that proper paint. They're food safe and it's on there forever. Like
Yeah.
you could put them in the dishwasher. I always tell them don't do that, but you
Right.
literally could put them in the dishwasher because 'cause they're baked afterwards, all
Yeah.
that, and it's on the glass. But I didn't know how to do it when I started, and then now I can do it and, so improved, and, I'm a good artist, but I'm a good copy artist. Like, I
Right.
can't sit and draw your face, but if I have the picture of it, I can paint it or color it or whatever. So, don't say I'm not an artist or I can't do that. There are ways of doing things without necessarily being like you picture an artist like Picasso or Da Vinci or something. You picture somebody who can just draw this
Right.
or make this sculpture or whatever. You might not be able to do that, but you can do something else, and man, is it so good for your mental health when you create
Right.
something. It really
Right.
is. If I'm feeling very stressed out or having a mental issue with myself, I will stop whatever I'm doing and just go create something. Go
Mhm.
out in my shop and paint something or make something or, something I've seen on a video on YouTube that I've never tried. I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go out there and try to do that." Because 1, my focus is now on watching that video and learning how to do it and then trying it, and if I can be successful at the end of it going, "Okay, look at what I did, and I feel really
Right.
good," and it lifts my spirits because most of the time when I get like that myself, it's because I'm feeling down about myself.
Right.
So when you're feeling down about yourself and you can do something that you feel proud about, it will lift you back out of that feeling bad about yourself.
Mhm.
Um, and obviously, everything works differently for other people, for everyone. It's not a one size fits all type of thing. Um, do you do stuff like that, like, different art things when you're feeling that way, or what do you do?
I grow plants
Mm,
and decorate houses.
you're very good at the growing the plants.
Yeah, I've killed a lot of plants. I've killed a lot of plants, and right now I'm in the process of killing all of my plants because they need to be repotted. And I cannot grow a garden. That's really frustrating to me. I cannot grow food, so I'm really frustrated with myself about that. But I like to grow plants, house plants.
Do
So
you
I have tons of
continue to
those.
try to grow a garden or
Oh, yes, I do. And it pisses me off because I
well,
cannot make them. I told you the only tomato plant that's ever been successful was the one I did not grow on purpose because my chicken pooped it out.
yep, you were
That
telling me
was,
about
yeah,
that. So you just need to
yeah,
get chickens and then you can grow your
yeah.
tomatoes.
I'll just feed them all the seeds for all the things I want and then just let them poop
Poop it
things
out.
all over
Yeah.
my yard. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Um
Um, but yeah, I don't know
I
what it is about.
I feel you and I did not work on my garden at all last year. I did nothing with the garden. And there was
Yeah,
twofold for that. We were very
yeah,
busy. We had exchange
yeah,
daughters, so we were very busy last year. But the year prior, I am not good at it by any means. I've been trying to learn. My son will tell you, "Mom, why are you trying to grow a garden? You kill fake plants." And that is a
yeah.
true story. I had a fake plastic plant when he was a
Oh
kid,
no.
and it grew so much mold on it because I kept forgetting and I was watering the stupid
Oh God.
thing. I
Oh no.
I don't know why I thought it was real. And so it grew so much mold on it.
That's a bad trip. That's a
Yeah,
bad trip.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so it ended up in the trash, obviously.
Yeah.
So he likes to nudge that one. I don't know why you're
Hmm.
trying to grow a garden, you kill fake plants.
I would too.
Um,
Yep.
but,
Yep.
the year before, we went out and we rototilled out all the ground, put all the
Mhm.
soil in there, mixed it all up, did the whole
Yep.
thing, and, I had some beautiful tomato plants. I
Yep.
had some great, peppers. I actually had my stalks of asparagus coming up. I did pre-seeding in my greenhouse. And I had a lot of stuff that was coming up. My green onions were amazing. I had a whole well, I have to say the mint was kind of taking over. So I had to like push the mint back cuz mint
Yeah.
grew like beautifully.
Yeah.
Some of my herbs were growing really well. I had several different types of tomato plants and they were doing phenomenally. Um
Yeah.
Honestly, everything was doing really well, but we couldn't keep the weeds down, and we
Yeah.
couldn't keep the grass from trying to grow back inside all the things. Now, I have learned there's certain flowers that you need to plant within your garden because it helps keep the bugs away, which I hadn't done. Um, Someone told me that if you see what's a banana spider? I think that's what they're called. If you see a
Okay.
banana spider, try to transplant him into your garden because they will
Okay.
keep a lot of the bugs that you don't want. They will keep them out of your garden. Also, the chickens will help with the bugs because if
Hmm.
you let your chickens over near your garden supervised, because otherwise they will eat your garden as well.
Everything. Yeah.
Same thing with the bunnies. But
Yeah.
out here, there's too many things that I'm worried about with the rabbits, so I don't let them outside at all. Um,
Right.
but then my mom and I went on a cruise to Alaska, and my husband forgot I had a garden.
Yep.
So the entire thing was dead when I came back, including every seed that I had growing so cutely and beautifully in my greenhouse. They were all dead. They
Yeah.
were all dried out and dead. So I wasn't mad at him. He had a lot of things going on. He had a lot of things to take care of. He just simply forgot I had a garden because I was the one that took care of everything with the garden.
Yeah.
So, and when we did talk, I didn't remind him like, on a daily basis or anything. Hey, did you water
Yeah.
the garden? And it got
Yeah.
some water, but it just happened to be that was a very dry summer,
Yeah.
because we were gone for almost a month. So
Wow.
in a month's time, well, we were gone a month. So in a month's time, a garden can die.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
Easily.
so now we're redoing things because we are concerned about my bending over. That was a very difficult thing with the garden, which was partly why we had the greenhouse. The greenhouse was downstairs. Now it's on the deck, so I can just come out to the deck and everything's kind of at a higher level, so I can do things without a whole bunch of bending, at least in the greenhouse. And then we're putting in a very big greenhouse down below, and he's going to make raised areas except for things that grow tall. Like we're going
Yeah.
to put a small little thing of corn, not a huge
Mhm.
thing, but corn grows really well. But I think that's the only thing we're going to put outside of the greenhouse is the corn,
Yeah.
like probably just a row of corn right next to the greenhouse. I don't know. We haven't,
Mhm.
mapped it all out. He did finish the plans for the chicken coop yesterday,
Excellent.
and it's very, very cool plans.
Excellent.
Very big too.
Yeah.
Like 20 28 feet total or something like that. With the
Yeah.
I think it's about that with the
Yeah.
run area, or maybe it's 20 feet total with the coop
Yeah.
inside the run. But anyway, try something new,
Absolutely.
and might not be successful at first. And again, we talked about this the other day when it came to like talking about the running shoes. It's okay to fail. You can fail up.
Yeah.
If you learned something from it, what we learned is grinding out that dirt is not just the answer, because we were also grinding those roots right back into the ground. So you might have to cut that first layer completely off, and then grind it up and put your soil or
Mhm.
whatever. So you can fail up too.
Yeah.
If you learn
Absolutely.
something from it, it's a failing up.
I really like the idea, especially if you have kids, of at dinner time or at some point daily, just asking and checking in and saying, "How did you fail today, and what did you learn about it?"
Yeah.
And just, having conversation and celebrating those failures instead of, thinking of them as a negative thing,
Yeah.
because you learn from those and you grow, and I think that's really important to recognize, is that every failure is a step to do something amazing. So everyone should celebrate those failures instead of look at them as something that's holding you back. So
Yeah, like, when I painted my first wine glasses, if you look at it from a fail perspective, it was a fail because they're not
yeah,
usable. They were
right.
cute, and you
But
could
they're
use
still
them
on
if
your
you're
shelf and they're pretty. So yeah,
if you can use them if you're very, very careful. I have one that's
right,
like you can see where it started coming apart.
right,
And the sealant didn't help at all. It's just a nice
right.
seal over the top of the part that
So
chips
it
off.
doesn't chip or peel. Yeah,
Yeah. But then that whole section will come off altogether, so it doesn't
right.
really keep it on there. But instead of it being a failure, I learned how to paint it, and
Yeah,
then I learned what to use properly. So,
right.
I like to call it failing up because you can go up from where you are.
Yeah,
You can move up, you can move forward. Um, every failure is not a failure. It is a lesson in what not to do or how to do it differently. Um,
I have an ugly mug. It's behind me. Can you see it? It's not mine. My daughter made it, my oldest, when she was in
which
high school. Hold
which
on,
one is it?
hold on.
I
I'll get
think I can see it, but I'm not sure if it's the one I think it is. Yep, that's what I thought it was.
I don't remember what she did wrong, but I think it broke or something,
Oh, I love it though. It's cute.
right? it
it's
like broke when it went into the pot. So then she
uh
had to start over and she was like, well, let's just do it from there. But it's like my favorite thing. I can't use it as actual mug because of whatever she did, but it's my favorite thing.
I
Like,
I I think it's really it would
look
be
at
a
it's got
really
hair.
it would actually be a really cute plant
It's
thing
right.
if you put the little plastic thing inside of it
Yeah.
so that you could use it as your replant when you're just planting when you take
Yeah.
off, what is it called when you take off a piece?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. But yeah,
Um
everything on this shelf is something that kids made me and classes. So see, I switched sides. By the way, I switched it,
I
so it's
I
no longer empty shelves.
I saw that. I was like, is her picture off? Like, is it backwards, or reversed or something? And I was like, "No, I think she just switched sides."
Yeah, went the other way.
Which
But
you're just trying to
yeah,
make people want, because it does just look like it's mirrored
yeah,
instead of the straight direction. But it's really cool to try these new things, and you know
yeah,
what? If you fail, try something else, or
absolutely.
see if there's another way to do what you tried to do. Like,
Oh
you
yeah,
don't have to quit completely, but you can, um yeah, that's way too close. Um,
you
I
can
don't
make fun of yourself for it because damn it, it's a good story, and the people that love you are gonna celebrate the thing anyway because it's awesome. So that's my story. I'm just saying. Oh, can I? Okay. All right. Um, all right. Oh my God, I hate when you do this. So we were talking about failures and we were talking about art projects. Why do you do this to me? Or this would be a failure. This would be an awkward moment. Um, if we moved, I don't know what's going on. Um, if we're moving into spirit, okay, there we go.
my my mic and headphone, for some reason, my board went out, and I had to
Oh,
reset my board. So, in the future, if I do that until you just talk, you take over for a minute while I try to fix the microphone, because it just went, "Bye-bye. I'm not
yeah,
gonna
no
talk
problem.
to you anymore."
Yeah. Is it because you moved your mic closer to you?
No, because I didn't. No, it was something with the board. Every
Oh,
now and
no.
then it loses connection, and I don't know why. Because it's a new board. It shouldn't be
Mhm,
doing that, and I don't know if it's the cable that we're using with the computer, or the computer does something, and
mhm.
it loses it. I don't know the reason for it, but it just
Well, we're talking about failure. There we go. Ta-da!
Yep, but we have a solution for it, instead of just saying, "Oh, well, I'm screwed," because there used to be a time that this stuff would happen and you would just have to go off completely. You couldn't fix it. Not without me having to spend time to fix it. Now I can fix
Mhm.
things quite quite often. I can fix them more on the fly. Um, but anyway,
I
yeah, just
think you
try.
do that to me on purpose. I swear.
Oh, I should do that every now and then on you on
Oh
purpose.
my God, why would you do that?
Well, because it
That's
would be
a
fun,
horrible thing.
at the same
No,
time.
I disagree. I disagree.
Well, and, on top of the gardening idea for trying something new, also trying, cooking. If you're not a cook, trying to cook something new, or you are a cook, but you wanna try to cook something
Mhm.
new. I, um, I still haven't done it, and I really want to. I want to make bread,
But
my
why?
own bread. because I
Okay.
want to make my own bread without all the crap in it. I want
Okay.
healthy bread. It was something that came up when the girls were here because the girls were like, "You Americans' bread is crap. You
Mhm.
guys have shitty bread."
I agree with that statement.
And
Yeah.
so I want to learn how to make better bread. And she
Mhm.
said part of it, like we would go to even a nice bakery to get nice bread, and the girls would be like, "This is crap."
Yeah. I
Um,
made lentil bread the other day. That was pretty good. It was heavy and it was full of protein, and it was pretty good. But it doesn't take much to do.
so
It's not hard.
I did buy all the little bread pans, or the
Mhm.
um whatever it is, it's a little basket for it to nest in with the cover for it. I bought all the stuff for Steve when
Mhm.
when the girls were here. It was part of his Christmas, and it
Mhm.
has made its way into its own designated drawer in the kitchen, but that's
Mhm.
about as far as it's gone. So I do want to
Mhm.
try to bake some bread, make some bread. Um, cool story with the bread thing. So Kristen, my best friend, God rest her soul. I love you so much, Kristen. But Kristen started on this path of making bread,
Mhm.
and she was baking. She was making all sorts of breads, um, and I was loving watching. She'd post a picture of her freshly baked bread, and I'm like, "Ooh, I want some of that," And so she started her own sourdough.
Mhm.
And I know that's a feat in itself, is to work on the sourdough. And she got her first sourdough starter, I think, from her mom. Her mom has her mom and dad have a cafe in Hawaii, and they
Mhm.
own a coffee plantation. So they have their own Kona coffee, and and they have a great cafe. Their food is amazing, by the way. Um, but her mom was talking to her about the cafe, and they make their own bread there, including their sourdough. And she said, "Well, did you know that when we moved to Hawaii, oh God, over 20 years ago is when they left Tahoe and went to Hawaii." She's like, "Did you know that my first sourdough starter was from Vic Colvin, my dad?"
Mhm.
And I did not know that my dad even made sourdough, let alone
That's
have
funny.
starters for sourdough. And
Yeah.
their first sourdough, and if you know how sourdough works, is you pull a piece out and you make and then you continue it. So, like,
Mhm.
you can have, I mean, obviously over time it's gonna dwindle that down, but your sourdough will always have a little bit of segment
The next
of
one.
that
Oh,
original.
the last one, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, they were talking about it, and she's like, "So it's kinda cool that, like, all the sourdough made at my parents' cafe is Colvin
From your dad.
sourdough," which
Yeah.
is my dad, and, he was the one that started it. So it's kinda cool. I don't know how much of the Colvin sourdough is still left in their sourdough because 'cause it's been over 20 years, but
Mhm.
there's a small little segment. Even if
Mhm.
it's ever so small, it's like there's a restaurant, I think somewhere in New England, that they boast about the fact that they cook all their fries or whatever in 100-year-old grease,
Oh. Mhm.
and, like, the sound of that to me is disgusting.
Right.
It does not sound good to me at all. But
Right.
then I watched the YouTube video about it, and they filter their grease every day or every week or whatever time frame it is. They filter it all through a filtering system, and it pulls
Mhm.
all the dirt, debris, and disgusting stuff out of it, and then they save all the good oil, and that good oil is was started with the oil when they started the restaurant 100 years ago or whatever, or the cookery or whatever they had 100 years ago. Um, Now how much of that oil, because obviously you replenish it as time goes by,
Right.
but it
How much
mixes
is
with
left?
it, so there's just a
Right.
little it might be microbes left.
Right. Right.
But,
It's the stuff stuck on the side of the machine.
yeah, well, they do scrub all that out, so
Okay.
when they filter it, they scrub the whole thing out, they clean everything. So, it sounds disgusting, though, when you hear 100-year-old ew.
Mhm.
That doesn't even sound right to me, that sounds so wrong in so many ways, like,
Right.
I just can't even explain how wrong that sounds, but, um, it's not exactly the whole grease is not 100 years old.
Not the whole truth, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, so, when I think about that on the level of their sourdough, there's a little bit of my dad still in their sourdough. And
Mhm.
considering he's been gone since 2018, there's a little bit of my dad still in their sourdough. So,
Mhm.
and I mean, technically not my dad. They don't put ashes in their sourdough. It's just his
Mhm.
starter. Just to
Yeah.
clarify for anybody who might have just jumped in or anything like that. Um, so learning to do something new is a really good way to deal with your mental health and taking on a new responsibility at work, um, presenting your skills to a coworker, or trying some new DIY project.
Mhm.
Something that you have wanted to do, but you weren't sure how. Like we're going to build our own chicken coop. Never have I ever built a chicken coop. Never have I ever had chickens. Now, my mom had chickens before, but I've never had chickens. So this is a totally new learning curve for me. I hope to be successful. I want to be successful. I want to do well with them. I want the chickens for two reasons. One, I want the eggs so then I don't have to buy eggs. And my egg issue is not just because of the prices of eggs. It's also because of the crap they're putting in the chickens.
Mhm.
That's my additional reason for it. It's not just because of the, price of eggs. If that
Mhm.
was the only reason, this is kinda stupid because it's gonna cost us $1,000 to build a chicken coop, you know? So, mm, how many cartons of eggs will I have to not buy to it's take me 3 years to make up the cost of the eggs, if that was the
Mhm.
only reason. But my other reason is because I want healthier food, and there is a lot of benefits to natural healthy eggs. Not to mention, I did not know this, I just learned this the other day. You had chickens before, so you probably already know this, but if you don't wash the eggs, they can sit
They're
on your
good as
counter
on the
for
counter.
weeks.
Yep.
Um and, because there's a membrane or a
Mhm.
coating on them that protect them, so
Yep.
they can
And
sit
they're
on
so pretty sitting on the counter. It's
yeah,
pretty cool.
like, I did not know that. I thought they
Mhm.
had to go straight from the chicken coop into your refrigerator. Like, I mean, obviously, I would wash them because of the dirt on them and because chicken poop or whatever gets on them, mud or whatever, that's on the chicken, um, or in the nesting box or something like that. So, I did not know that, and therefore, I would have immediately washed them all the time. So,
Mhm.
knowing that now is really gonna be helpful. But learning
Mhm.
this is I wanna learn something new, but I also know that, I need to do a lot more physical activity. I
Mhm.
can't go to the gym and do a workout. I just physically, I can't do it. So, having something that I have to take care of, and it has to eat and water and exercise and do their thing is gonna make me have to go out and take care of them is an additional benefit. So those are my reasons. Besides, who doesn't want a furry friend? Or a feathered friend, I guess, because that's not really a furry friend, it's a feathered friend. Um,
Mhm.
and hopefully I don't have any issues with my chickens and the furry friends. Um, we're gonna introduce them slowly and carefully.
Yeah.
Um, but, um but, building the chicken coop and stuff like that, that's a DIY, but we've taken a few ideas from several different ones that we've watched, and we've seen how they made theirs, and then we made our own plans because we want ours in a lean-to style, not, pitch roof because we want it to be close to the house, and we want the water to run off. We don't want water going behind it. And because you've seen our property, we have a lot of water catch areas. So we're doing
Mhm.
our best to keep water off of the inside of the chicken coop, because chickens,
Yeah.
I didn't know this either. You automatically assume chickens are really filthy. They're
Mhm.
actually
They're no
really
different.
clean.
Yeah.
Um, and as long as you don't leave them in a mud pit, they are really clean animals. I mean, you
Mhm.
can't really help that if you have dirt and water and when it rains, and we have a lot of rain here sometimes.
Yeah.
So, um, we have the idea for an open roof on part of it and a roof over another part of it. We may roof the whole thing. I don't know. Um, but there's benefits to trying something new, and there's lots of videos out there that you can get on YouTube on how to do these things. And I don't think there's, and I will say this, this is another a part of that. If you go onto YouTube, I did this once. I was looking for a video on how to fix a part, not fix the part, but how to make my camera do a specific thing. And there was nothing, no video out there. Nobody had it, but a lot of people were having the same issue with the camera. It's my XL, or my big camera, whatever it's called. Anyway, all sorts of people were having the same issue because it was a very searched problem. And there were a few videos out on it, but nobody had the actual solution to the problem. So I took it upon myself that I was going to figure out how to fix this on the camera. I I went through all the reading material on how to do certain things, and I played with all the programming on it, and it was just a feature on the camera, but it ruined it for using it for filming. And just wouldn't work correct. It would time out. That
Oh,
was the
no.
issue. So if you put the camera up after, I think, 15 minutes or 20 minutes, it just turned off. And
Mhm.
there was no setting on there that I could figure out how to fix it. Well, I did figure out how to fix it. And it took a lot of research on figuring it out. Well, when I figured it out, I videotaped how to fix that problem and I posted it on there, and it was an issue that enough people were researching that it was my most viewed video. I mean, it's on my other YouTube channel, but it had thousands of views on that one.
Mhm.
So if there's something that you wanna do that you don't know how to do and you can't find the answer on YouTube, figure it out, videotape it, and then post it yourself. Because if there's enough people looking for it, then you found the solution. So that can be
Mhm.
a goal to try to figure out something else. But another place that you can go is you can sign up for a community course at your local community college, or
Mhm.
there are organizations, or there are clubs that you can join to learn different things or to do different things. There's also places that you can do volunteer work that is you might be helping to build a house in Mexico, but you can learn how to do different things by joining other clubs or at your church or something like that. So keep those things in mind as well. The other thing is there's a lot of cool apps out there, so you could try to learn a new language. Um,
Mm.
and that's another really fun thing, especially if you like I only have like one small part of my own personal feelings about learning another language is be careful setting yourself up to learn another language if you don't have somebody to practice that language with because you're not really going to know if you're saying it correctly. I'm trying to learn Danish. So
Mm.
what it is I have somebody that's Danish that I can talk to. Now I speak some German, so I also have somebody in Germany. I also have somebody in Ireland, so I can practice learning Irish. And you know what that consists of? Speaking English with a beer.
There you go. Yep.
My friend that's Irish, I tell you what, um, he has a very thick Irish accent, of course, because he's actually Irish. But when he drinks, I can't understand anything he says. I'm like,
Yeah.
uh, I don't
Got
know
nothing.
anything you just said. What did you
Yep.
say? Can you slow down and
Made
write?
some hand signals.
Can you color that on a picture for me? Because I don't know what you just said. And because his Irish will get very thick and he will talk very fast. And he says we talk fast too. So
Yeah.
it's quite entertaining, I have to say that much. So you can try new hobbies, new skills. You can go to a local community something, your church or whatever, and join something. You can also take up painting, try a new sport, or writing a blog, or doing a blog, doing a YouTube. There's a lot of people that have chosen to use. I'm sorry if I keep moving.
I
It's
move everywhere all the time. I can't
it's
sit
kind of
still.
uncomfortable sometimes. My back
Mhm.
starts slopping,
Oh,
slouching or whatever, and as soon as I feel myself doing that, it's my back starts getting uncomfortable.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of people now just doing, like, YouTube journaling. Like, they go
Yeah.
on and they just basically they spend, 10, 15 minutes, and they instead of writing their journal, they talk their journal on their YouTube channel, and, um that could
That's
be
great.
good for 2 people, you and someone watching, getting something out of it if you're being honest and raw. Now, I would say if you're just being fake on there, I don't know how good that's gonna be for your mental health. So we have to keep that in mind as well. Um What it says on the don't list is don't feel you have to learn new qualifications or sit exams if this does not interest you. If you don't have to go and start taking exams and get a full certification on something unless that's something you really want to do. That's not what we're trying to say. Um Obviously it's best to find activities that you enjoy.
Mhm.
That's an important part. Um Giving to others and random acts of kindness, those are really good ways of pulling out some, emotional, uh, mental well-being for yourself. Um,
Mm.
it creates positive feelings and a sense of reward, giving you a feeling of purpose and self-worth, helping you connect with other people. It could be a small act of kindness towards other people, or larger ones like volunteering in your local community. That's pretty much what we were just talking about a few minutes ago. Um, now, I've always been involved in different types of volunteering. I'm a volunteer with Team Rubicon. If you've never heard of it, it's an amazing organization. Um they respond to national disasters, but they also go back into, like, Houston. They're on a rebuild project that they've been on since Houston had the massive hurricane. So they have teams of people that work together to go in to areas when there's a hurricane for the natural disaster. My husband is part of the route clearance team, and he's part of the Sawyer team where they cut down trees, and he's also part of the heavy equipment operators for Team Rubicon. And I am in the EMT EMS side of it. So you can, there's all sorts of different aspects that you can do volunteering with them. And then, like I said, they also have the teams of people that go in and do the rebuilds. And the rebuilds are for people that don't have the insurance, aren't going to qualify for the federal money or something like that because they ran out or whatever. So they go in and they try to help them rebuild. I know they're going to be going in after when Milton and Helene people start doing their rebuilds. They'll be in there, I'm sure, helping them with their rebuilds as well. So that is another thing that you can do. So this also says pay attention to the present moment mindfulness. Paying more attention to the present moment can improve your mental well-being. This includes your thoughts and feelings, your body, and your world around you. Some people call this awareness, mindfulness. Mindfulness can help you enjoy life more and understand yourself better. It can positively change the way you feel about life and how you approach challenges. That is very true. Like, whatever it is you are going to do, I think it is important to be aware of what you're doing. Being aware of yourself, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of how it's helping or what parts of it might not be helping to change it up a little bit. Hello? Can
Hi,
you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Now we're at spiritual self-care. So making spiritual self-care a part of your daily routine will boost your well-being and uncover deeper meaning and a more purposeful life. When you focus on creating space in your life for your core values, beliefs, and purpose, you create meaning and connection with intent. This often creates peace. Importance of spiritual self-care. Self-care can reduce stress, strengthen resilience, and coping skills. Improves self-worth and intention, cultivates a stronger connection with yourself, others, and the world. Practices for spiritual self-care. Meditation, practicing quiet reflection. Observing thoughts and emotions without judgment. That's a big part of it, is not judging yourself either. And it's easy to judge other people too, but it's really important not to judge yourself when you're trying to improve yourself, is to not judge yourself. Prayer, participating in spiritual or religious rituals, whether through spoken prayers or moments of gratitude in nature. Again, journaling. Journaling is a great way of spiritual self-care. Writing down your thoughts and writing freely about your thoughts and emotions, beliefs in a safe personal space. Again, back to volunteering. Volunteering is an important part of it. I can't even speak.
Contributing.
Contributing to the community and helping others in meaningful ways. Again, spending time in nature. I cannot reiterate this enough. Nature is so healing. Going for a walk in the woods, going for sometimes I will take a drive somewhere and go do a nature walk through a park or something. And you can always find a state park or you know, a federal park or a state park, and there's usually something cool there because that's why they made the state park there. There might be a cavern, there might be just something really neat. Might be a rope bridge. There might be a waterfall somewhere up in there. So I think it's really cool to go out into nature and immerse yourself in it. I think that's really good. Like I said, spending time in nature, immersing yourself in the natural world to find peace and inspiration. I will tell you, when you're out in that nature and you close your eyes and you kind of do a little meditation and you hear all the birds and you hear the little animals, you can hear them kind of running through the brush and the trees or whatever. And you can hear the different things going on around you. It is really actually very peaceful. And it's kind of interesting. Like I have in the past, I've gone where I actually just want to, I want to listen to what's happening and I try to guess like what kind of animal that is. And I don't ever get scared. Like I think that's a huge part of, worrying about the deer or the bear or the this or the that. Honestly, if you just don't show that fear, because all animals kind of read off of your emotions. If you just sit very calmly, I have at least 3 times in my life been in the woods with a bear. And I have never had obviously I haven't been killed by a bear, but I've never even had a negative reaction with the bear. Like the bear just one time I was pretty young and the bear was like almost right next to me. It was probably from where you sit at your desk, Christy, to where I sit. That's how close I
That's
was to the
horrifying.
bear. So it was
That's
way
Nope.
too close for comfort, but I was
Yeah.
also a kid. So I feel like, and it was a mama bear because her cubs were up the tree, like right up ahead of me. And apparently I had missed it and they must have ran across where I was walking and up the tree, and mama came out of the woods like right at me. And I didn't freeze, but I froze and I just went like, "Hi, mama bear." And I was nice to it, so to speak, and she just kind of looked at me and she didn't put her nose at me, but she sniffed the air by me. And
Yeah.
then she ran off and kept going. She never stopped.
Right.
I think she could smell that I wasn't afraid, or she could smell that I was a child. I don't know. Also
Yeah.
weren't the dangerous type of bear.
Yeah.
And that is definitely a difference in breeds of bears, how they're gonna react. I'm not saying go out and find a bear. Do not do that. But I've never had a negative response to them, but I also never tried to approach. I didn't try to touch them. I didn't try to
Oh.
steal their babies. I didn't do anything. I just, the other time I was not nearly that close. I just very slowly backed away. And they
plan.
were all in Tahoe. We have tons of bears in Tahoe. So it's not super unusual to run into a bear in Tahoe. The third time was with my dog. That I was very nervous about.
I would be too.
Because my dog alerted to it before it was present. And she was my Doberman, and she was a very well-trained Doberman. So when the bear when she alerted to the bear, she literally sat down, ears up, and I went, okay. And we stopped where we were at, and she sat there showing her teeth, doing the whole lip twitching thing, but she never growled. She didn't try to chase. She just made her presence known. Mess with my mom, and I'm coming after you.
Yeah.
So nothing happened. The bear just the bear did stand. The bear was on all fours, and the bear did stand, and which scared me.
Yeah.
And Jezebel stood up on all fours, took one
I can
step.
do that too.
Yep. It's like, okay. And took one step forward and then sat.
Yeah.
So she made present that she was going to protect me from this bear. And the bear went back down to all fours. Like, okay, I showed you mine. Now you showed me yours. And I'm going to make sure that we know where we stand. And I'm imagining the bear was also trying to determine, was this a coyote? Was this a animal that was going to attack me? And do I need to be prepared for it? And like, she just, I don't know if he or she, but I wasn't close enough to check up the skirt. But the bear just turned like, okay, and just took off into the woods. And I mean, took off into the woods, like it ran like pretty lickety split. And then Jezebel growled. She did not growl until the bear took off. And then she growled. I guess she was sending her a message after the fact, like, don't come back.
I told you. Yeah. I done told you.
Yeah, exactly. So
Too funny.
it is an experience, not necessarily one I would want to repeat, because I was scared. I was extremely scared. But I think that time it was the only time that I was actually scared. But that was because I was fearful for my dog. Like, I did not want, because I knew Jezebel would fight to the death to protect me.
Yeah.
And the sad part is I also knew that if something happened, I would have to let go of the leash and run and get away. Because if for some reason she wins, the bear will run off. If the bear wins, the bear is going to attack me. And if they're fighting and I'm trying to get my dog away from the bear, I'm going to die. Like, I all this was going through my head. Like, it is not a good scenario if the dog and the bear start to fight. I unfortunately would have to run away to protect myself, or me and the dog would be dead. And all I could hope for is that my dog would scare the bear enough, bite the bear enough, whatever, to protect herself and come find me. So I was terrified for that, not because it was a bear. I was terrified for my dog. Because obviously I know that my dog would fight to the death for me. And most of us, our dogs would fight to the death to protect us. So and how well they can fend off a bear, don't know, don't want to find out. That is definitely not something I want to test the waters on. So again, engaging in creative expression using art, music, or writing to channel spiritual experiences. You can, when you get into a meditative state and you write, it is a totally different writing experience than just journaling or just writing. When you put yourself into a meditative state, like listening to meditation music and actually going through the motions of getting into a meditative state before writing, your writing experience is a lot different.
Yes. Yes, it can be a good one for sure. It can change a lot of things. Mhm.
Seeking guidance and connecting with a spiritual leader, mentor, or therapist for for support and wisdom. That is really, really good. Um,
What was that?
well, I started to say therapist for something else, and and it wasn't support. And then I looked up, and I'm like, it says support.
My words, they can come out.
Words are hard.
No.
Um, m- yeah, words are
We
difficult.
can do hard things.
We can do hard things. Making spiritual self care your own. Discover what fosters your sense of spiritual connection. Explore various practices and see what feels right for you. Dedicate time regularly, even if it's just a few minutes each day. I think that's an important part of it is
Sure.
um, carving out a time for these spiritual moments or reflection,
Mhm.
meaningful moments, and it doesn't have to be long moments. Like it
Right.
doesn't have to be, you don't have to dedicate an hour. You could dedicate 5 minutes. You could dedicate 15 minutes. I think what you'll find though, as you're doing it, that you'll want to increase that time
I agree with that. That was what I was
because
going to say. Yeah.
it
Because once
feels
you get
really
that connection, yep. So I will say this. So I have done yoga at home through an instructional video and through YouTube channels. It is a completely different experience doing yoga individually at home with an instructor or even by yourself versus doing it in a classroom setting with others because there is an energy exchange that goes on and there is, if done correctly, if done with the right instructor, there is a literal tingling that will occur. It's an incredible feeling. You do have to find the right person, but there is like an energy exchange that will occur, and it becomes quite addicting because then you're like, I want to go there again because I can feel the healing, I can feel the actual energy that goes through, and it's a great thing that happens. So yeah, that's one of those things where you want to similarly, like once you actually have that feeling or you get into that meditative state or that prayer state or whatever, and you, even for that short period of time, you realize, oh my God, it actually worked. Then
right,
you're like,
right.
I need to do more time. I
I want
want
to
more
do this
time.
again.
Yeah.
That 5 minutes becomes that hour.
Yep. It
And
just becomes easier.
when that
Yeah.
hour is over with, you're like, I kind of want more. And,
Yeah.
so then you're looking forward to, because for many people, they can't carve out more than that hour.
Right.
Some can, but for
Right.
most people can't carve out more than an hour time.
Right.
Even if it started with 5-minute increments and then
Right.
now you're at that hour. But now you're looking forward to it tomorrow or
Right.
the following, if you only go do that 1 hour once a week, you're actually looking forward to that day that is coming, which I think that anticipation of those very reflective moments start becoming something that you're looking very forward to, which helps you with the rest of your week or the rest of your day. If it's a daily thing or a weekly thing, it helps you with the
Mhm.
rest of it because it gives you something that you're looking really forward to that's coming.
Mhm.
I think that can be important. Dedicate time regularly, even if it's just a few minutes a day, like I said. Be open to experimenting and allow yourself to grow through the process. Keep in mind that spiritual self care is a personal journey. What works for one person may not work for others. So,
Yeah.
like I said, you can carve out that 5 minutes and you may want to increase that as time goes and you might really want to. And but you don't have to do, like, there's not one cookie cutter way of doing a meditation or a spiritual awareness or becoming one. I used to have I have a Zen um, patio, a Zen porch, which I would like to make more Zen.
Zen.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I wanna make that my meditation room. I wanna put my
Uh-huh.
yoga mats in there. I want to, I have speakers so you can connect your phone to YouTube or
Mhm.
whatever. So that is one of my goals for this summer, this spring, is to really turn that into a, meditation room.
Mhm.
And the furniture that's already in there is very much towards that. It's wicker, it's comfortable. There I have a beautiful art piece in there. I wanna add a little bit more, and I have this really cool thing that my mother bought me years and years ago, and it is a sand drawing thing. It has the weight on it, and you just fill the dish with sand, and you just go in
Mhm.
and you just move it, and I used to use it in my office all the time when I needed a few minutes to meditate and just, like,
Mhm.
zone out for a little bit. I would just put music on that
Mhm.
calmed me, and I would just stare at that thing, and
Yeah.
as you're watching it create whatever design it naturally just starts creating, it's kinda mesmerizing, it gives you
Yeah.
a little bit of meditation, and it took about 30 minutes for it to really slow down to where it
Yeah.
was now in the center, and when it got to the center, I used to call it, "Now I'm centered."
Uh-huh.
So I could get back to whatever it was that I was doing, and I would do it anytime that I was getting super stressed out with work stuff. I would stop and put my sand thing on, and it
Yeah.
depended on how hard I pushed it at the beginning, how long it took. If
Mhm.
I barely pushed it, it would slow down very quickly, but if I really pushed it, obviously, you don't wanna have it, too far out of it'll go off of it,
Right.
and then it won't work, but if you push it hard enough, it'll go faster, and it takes
Mhm.
longer for it to get to that center. So I wanna put that it's already in there, but I gotta get sand and put sand in it. And it
Mhm.
has to be really soft sand, really. Um, but there's other things, I also have a, rock waterfall that I can put in there where it can have the babbling brook sound,
Mhm.
so I wanna add those few elements in there and my yoga mat so you could sit in there and then I have a bookcase, a little small bookcase that's out in the shop that I wanna put in there with a few books in it because it's a really nice, calm place to go sit and read a book.
Mhm.
Um, one, you're kinda sorta in nature because you can see all around outside,
Mhm.
but also, if you sit out there and reading a book, the distraction of a remote control for a TV is not there because there's no
Right.
TV in the room. So
Right.
you can't go like, if you're I find that, like, I can't meditate in my living room. I can't meditate in my bedroom. And I know a lot of people say don't have a TV in your bedroom. Um, but I do. And so I have a difficult time. I need to meditate in a place where I don't really have that distraction because
Mhm.
I know myself well enough that I know if that remote control is there, that meditation will last about 5 minutes and I will grab the remote and I will turn the TV on.
Mhm.
Um, so I have to put myself away from a TV. I go out by the pool. We have a little hanging swing thing out by the pool.
Mhm.
I've gone and sat in that, um, and just watch the water, or I go and sit
Mhm.
at my little bistro table out by the pool and have a cup of coffee or whatever. I also have my window by the end of my kitchen that I will go sit in that window and I watch the birds outside because we have a whole family of, cardinals that live in our tree.
Mhm.
So I will go
Yeah.
out there and I will watch the birds and drink my cup of coffee or whatever. But I know myself well enough that, and you do too, you know yourself well enough. So if you're looking at doing some kind of meditation, knowing yourself well enough to put yourself in a place where that meditation is going to work the best,
Right.
rather than putting yourself, I know I will get distracted. It's like that remote control is calling me, turn
Right.
me on. But if I'm not near it, I'm not tempted to, I mean, it's kind of
Right.
like that bag of chips. If you put a little handful of chips on your plate and then you put the bag of chips away, the less likely you are going to go and eat more,
Right.
because
Yep.
you're not going to get up to go get the extra. So if you start
Right.
meditation in a place where you're not going to have the distractions, or you're not going to be tempted to do something else. And also I would suggest, if you're going to go into a specific place to do a meditation, besides going into an area that has no distractions, leave your phone in another room. And
Right.
unless, of course, you're using it for your music or something, but I would still suggest maybe have a Bluetooth speaker in that area
Mhm.
or something like that. But if you disconnect from that, because your phone might beep, your phone might make noise, it might vibrate, and then your
Yeah.
mind is like, "Well, what was that? I wanna know what that
Right.
is." So,
Yep.
use
Who's
that
calling?
time to
Whatever. Yep.
get away from it. Joe Rogan, I was just listening to him the other day, and he's like, um so, he calls it post and ghost, because he doesn't read comments. He doesn't read
Yeah.
any comments because of
Yeah.
all the negativity. He's like, "I'm not gonna set myself up for that. So I don't read the positive or the negative, so sorry." But he's like, he calls it post and ghost. He posts it, and then he
It's
doesn't bother
done. It's
with it
up.
afterwards.
Next thing.
Yep,
Yep. It's smart
exactly.
to do it that way. Yep.
And, but he just recently said he's like, "There's so many temptations on my phone with games and apps and this and that." He's like, "I'm really, really tempted to have my phone that is for posting or for doing stuff, that is a separate phone from my actual phone that I,
Mhm.
text with and make phone calls with." And he's like, "I'm tempted to go back to a flip phone that
Yep.
doesn't have all those features."
Go to a dumb phone.
Now, granted, they're harder to find nowadays.
Yeah.
Um, but you can also get he talked he was on an interview. I can't remember who it was. She's another comedian, and she's like, the apps that will control your timing is great. She goes, but it also makes me feel like a failure, because
Okay.
when it pops up that you've exceeded your amount of time, or that it cuts you off of something, and then you go and unblock it so that you could go back in it. She's like, then I feel like a failure. So I think you got to be careful with what you set yourself up for. Know your own limitations, and know your own boundaries, and know what your distractions are, so you don't set yourself up for accidental mistakes or whatever it is that could happen
Mhm.
because of that. So that's our time for the day. Thank you all for coming, and we will see you again tomorrow. And we
Yeah.
will continue on with the journey for self-care and spiritual self-care. Remember, what works for one person may not work for another. So just remember, that is not everything is a one size fits all. So find what works for you. Anyway, come find us again tomorrow, and we are here every Monday through Friday from 10 to 11:30 Central Time, by the way. And I'm Tori, and this is Christy, in case you didn't catch our names. And we will see you again tomorrow, because I don't think we did any introductions, but we'll see you again tomorrow. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. And you can find all of our socials at Girl Talks, GURLTAUX. Thank you so much. And you guys have a fabulous day. And we will talk to you tomorrow.
Catch Girl
Have a great
Talks
day.
every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GURLTAUX. Every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube, stream.